Hi there, this is Arakai Moon with Star Siren Astrology coming to you in this incredible full moon in Gemini. Like everything is shaking, shifting up. We have the full moon in this crazy, mind-blowing perspectives, veils dropping, bridge building, informational gathering signs of Gemini. It's the gypsy. It's the one that sees through all the layers and starts to collect and gather new information and see things from all perspectives and doesn't attach to any one way or truth, and is this mutable shifting. It's busy, it's talkative, it's like the gypsy. And so when the full moon is in that, it's like this magnifying lens, our deep subconscious world of our emotions and our dream life, and the collective is kind of entering into this space of gathering and busyness and learning and expanding and releasing any sort of attachments to anything really. And yet we have the sun and Mercury and Jupiter all in Sagittarius, which is give me a purpose. I have my fiery arrow and my passion on a straight line. It's direction, it's purposeful, and it's I am here to find that climb to the top of the mountain holy grail of truth, and then I'm here to teach it. And so we have a lot of solar and Jupiterian energy. The Mercury rules the mind, so we have this powerful surge to be in alignment with our purpose right now, to find our truth, and to really get to the places where we've been going, coming from a half of a year's worth of so many retrogrades, and at the same time of Jupiter moving into Sagittarius, which is this new cycle that we will be going through for a whole year. Jupiter is the remover of obstacles, the guru. So it's teaching us what is standing in your path, to being in your purpose. Where is your fire leading you, and how does it have that spiritual higher understanding? How are you seeking with your fire, with your direction and your actions, that higher understanding and purpose, and it's there to remove the obstacles, but first we have to see the obstacles. And so at the same time as Jupiter moving into that, Mercury goes retrograde in the same sign of Sagittarius. And so Mercury going retrograde is revise, take a step back, are you in alignment with your purpose and truth? What belief systems are you holding on to? What dogmas? What things are keeping you stagnant? What things are keeping your fiery arrow of purpose from actually being shot in this aligned, purposeful way? And so it's revise at the same time of Jupiter being go, So it's a really interesting energy, and the moon being in Gemini to oppose it is what belief systems are you holding on to that could be keeping you from your purpose? How can you take this energy of the moon calling us to expand, calling us to release belief systems, release attachments, make new connections, learn, communicate, build the bridges, because Gemini is that bridge builder. It's the connector and the weaver of worlds. So it's being able to connect us to all these places through the constructs and the confines and the ruts inside of our mind and inside of our perspective, and allowing us to kind of have this energy to see through that. And that's actually in support of that Sagittarian desire for purpose, because it's saying, hey, there are things that the Sagittarius could be too clinging, to purpose or to their idea of truth, and maybe it's time to shed some of those places that we've been holding on to what is quote unquote truth. And also, you know, with the full moon, it's always this time of like a culmination, and yet it's also a time of releasing. And it's a 6-month ceremony. So in June, we had a new moon in Gemini, and it was really a strong time of like finding new pathways, gathering information, and like opening ourselves to like new ways of learning and communication. And to me, it like manifested itself of like, I was like reading that nonviolent communication book. I think I read it 5 times, and it was like perfect for that Gemini ceremony, because I was like, I am reaching outside of the things that I was like, yeah, whatever, I got nonviolent communication down, but I was actually like, okay, I need some help. Like, how can I bring like new perspectives and new information and reach out to new people to be able to build some of these bridges inside of my own communication styles, inside of my own relationship patterns that are stagnant, that are constricting. Like, how are these patterns affecting my relationships, affecting my ability to have my needs like truly met? You know, my ability to have my boundaries drawn in a way that's like permeable and actually like sustaining and nurturing. And this is a perfect like, you know, ceremony to come up, because I didn't even realize it was like, as we were approaching the full moon, I started to be like, oh my God, nonviolent communication again. Like, why have I forgotten it? It's like I learned it and started to integrate it, and over these last 6 months, there's parts of it that I kept and integrated, and there's a lot that I like forgot. And so there's also this call right now to be like, how have you integrated those, like whatever it was that you started to uncover, that you started to gather, and that you started to connect yourself with in June? Like, what did you spend that like, you know, immense amount of Gemini energy in June to like gather and expand and to like grow and learn and connect yourself with all the others and the people and the networks of things? How has that actually integrated in your life? Like, has it created some sort of like lasting action or result, or has it created some sort of like structure inside of your life, or has it just kind of like fallen by the wayside and now we're like moving on to the next thing? Because Gemini can get kind of like, woo, a little bit, you know, wishy-washy, because it's like constantly gathering and constantly seeking. And so that Sagittarius is like challenging that seeker to also be like, you know, the doer, the one that can like also integrate and experience and also teach. So it's another way of like, how do we share that? How do we give something from all of that desire to receive and to like, you know, like I said, expand. And so this is a perfect time to just think back 6 months ago of June, of like, what were those things for you? You know, like, they might not have been the nonviolent communications, but what were you gathering? What were you expanding and using that, you know, that mental energy? And how can you like bring it into like what the moon represents is that deep subconscious, that deep emotional body? And how can we bring that into creating actually like new perspectives and new pathways? And using that information to be integrated and bringing us into more alignment with our purpose and with our like higher, like our desire for higher understanding, you know? And there's really so much shifting and going on right now that some of these transits require a whole video unto themselves, you know, such as Jupiter moving into Sagittarius. It will be a year-long ceremony for us all. You know, it's a very collective and individual ceremony. I'll make another video just for that. I just want to bring a little bit of awareness to how it relates to this time for us right now. And also the nodal axes that have shifted. They moved from Leo Aquarius to now Capricorn Cancer. And that's also going to be another like over a year ceremony for us, which I will also do a video specifically for that. So stay tuned for that. Click subscribe so that you can be notified when I make these videos. But I do just want to speak a little bit to the Capricorn Cancer axes right now as it relates to this full moon. And so as I was speaking to this surge of energy in Gemini of like allowing us to expand our perceptions and our ability to communicate and make those bridges, I feel like that actually, all of these skills that we acquire with that Gemini energy, all of the connections and the bridges that we make, this new form of communication that we can really open and learn, can help us to move towards that North Node in Cancer. Because moving from the South Node in Capricorn, we are moving from old uses of power and power dynamics and old structures and systems that are outdated, but are also that have like constricted like our emotional needs, that have constricted our own inner child and our creatives. So this journey of healing this Cancer Capricorn axes over the next year is asking us to reevaluate, deconstruct, and like take down the foundations of our lives and of our community and our society at large, of places where we are in sustainable patterns. Reevaluate the relationship dynamics that we have, and how are we sabotaging our own emotional needs from being met, because that North Node in Cancer is asking us to heal our ability to give and receive, to heal and come into a place of emotional security. It is asking us to heal the feminine, to heal the ocean and the waters. It is asking us to like really come into a place of emotional intelligence. And to me, how do we come into a place of emotional intelligence, have boundaries, like create balance inside of those power dynamics in our relationships and those other structures and systems in our life, like that Gemini energy of expanding and seeing through illusions and seeing into different perspectives and trying on different lenses and filters and gathering new information for communication, like that can help us move into a space of emotional intelligence and true emotional security, one that's not needing and seeking and sabotaging and blaming, but one that like calls us into responsibility and true integrity and accountability to like understand our needs and heal ourselves of the shame, and we've been in a huge journey over the last 2 months with Venus being in retrograde of healing our shame, of like uncovering these deep subconscious like desires for intimacy, for sexuality, for power, for money, for all of these things, and so Venus having gone through the underworld over the last 2 months, like late degrees of Libra, moving into 10 degrees of Scorpio. She's moved back again, and now, on November 16th, she started moving direct. Same time being opposed by Uranus. And so it's like major like call for change, major call for like liberation and freedom, at the same time of Venus being like, oh my God, I want connection, I want intimacy, I want like to heal these parts of my sexuality, of my desires that have been locked in the dungeon of my subconscious, that have been shamed and suppressed, and I want it out. I want to bring it up to the table. Like we've gone through the journey of like excavating our depths, of like uncovering the places inside of our relationships that have been fucked up, that have been like, oh my God, not fulfilling and not sustaining, the parts of our energy inside of our money, our finances, our work, inside of all relationships, any past woundings that have kept us hooked into these places of disempowerment, in this place of shame where we sabotage our needs from being met. That has all been coming up over these last 2 months. And so now it's like really like take all of this energy for like expansion and growth, and also that Uranus energy of change, and like bring that Venusian heart, that Cancerian North Node desire of like heal, reclaim our power, bring ourselves into responsibility and emotional integrity and intelligence, like emotional alchemy, and like Venus moving direct, preparing to head back through the last degrees of Libra, moving into Scorpio, like healing these deep places of our ability to relate, of our ability to connect and to harmonize, you know, those my needs versus your needs. How are we opposing and squaring and like competing our needs against the other, against our life, against our partners, our parents, our children, whatever it is. Like, let's draw ourselves into a place of like healing and uncovering those places of deep sabotage. And like, yeah, like allow the perspectives, allow your illusions to be revealed to you. You know, don't let it make you crazy, because Gemini and the full moon can go a little crazy, but it can also be like this white water of moonlight through all the lenses of our glasses, like cleaning our perspectives and like allowing those illusions to fall. Because these places where our needs are suppressed and our needs are shamed and our worth, our value has been like wounded and degraded, there's like a deep, like large, there is a huge tendency and capacity for like lashing out, for shaming and projecting. And so this is the time of like, okay, whoo, it really feels like the other. It really feels like it's my needs or your needs. And it's like, okay, how do we draw in that responsibility? How do we reclaim our power, even when it feels like the other is taking it away? Even when it feels like there is no way in this circumstance in my life can I get my power back, I'm stuck, or it's whatever it is, like whatever is happening. It's like, reclaim your body, reclaim your sexuality, reclaim your power, and like open up for new insights. So thank the moon, like thank the moon that she's here to bring that to us now. All right, so blessings on this full moon in Gemini, and with all of these powerful transits going on, stay tuned for new videos, for deeper videos of how that's going to affect us over this year, and how can we like see our way through these like deep psychedelic astrological journeys.